I have two boys. My oldest and youngest are dyslexic, and they're 7 years apart. So I've been on the journey a really long time. I've been researching this, trying to find out what dyslexia is, trying to understand what research-based reading measures look like for about 9 years now. My oldest is now a freshman in high school, and we started noticing some struggles first grade. I was really shocked to find out that as my youngest started going through the school system and we were noticing the red flags right away, it really astounded me to see that nothing had changed in those 7 years, that the same difficulties we had getting evaluations and information about what was actually the source of the struggle was still there. So I was sharing those struggles with other parents that I was lucky enough to meet in New Jersey, similar situations, and really just decided that it was not okay for everyone to have this similar story and nothing to be changing across years, generations, different school districts, many different parts of our state. So we quickly realized that we could be a force if we united and got our voices, saying the same thing and getting out there talking to policymakers and really anyone who will listen, just making sure everyone in our state knew that this is really an issue within public schools. And hopefully by uniting, we can see about doing something to change things. We struck a chord. Seeing that it spread so quickly to other states and parents are really jumping on board, wanting to do similar things, I think we really touched on something. And if we can inspire parents to connect with other organizations and professionals out there looking to solve this problem, I think we can affect change. So Decoding Dyslexia has a 3-point mission statement. We are looking to raise dyslexia awareness. We're hoping to get parents to resources and supports in a timely fashion, quicker than we may have gotten there ourselves. And we also want to make sure that we're out there sharing our story with policymakers and people who actually have the ability to affect change. From that 3-point mission statement, we've developed also talking points or policy goals, and those are to have a unified definition of dyslexia in state education codes, to mandate early screening, early intervention, teacher training, and access to assistive technologies. I think dyslexia is misunderstood in our schools because the teachers are not coming out of their teacher preparation courses with that knowledge. And without a knowledge base, it's really difficult to move forward and have the conversations when you have parents coming in that have that knowledge and have done that research and have the information. So we're kind of caught in a bad place right now. There's a lot of catching up that needs to be done from the higher ed colleges and universities. So schools are put in a position where they have to find the resources to bring in professional development and training for their staff. And in the day and age that we live in, budgets are tight and things are being cut, it's really difficult for schools to do that. So there's the problem really needs to be approached from multiple angles and really decide as a nation that we're going to do something about this and make some change. We know that as a united force of parents and educators and organizations all working on this, that we can get something done. If you're a parent and you're noticing some signs of struggle, maybe it's around reading, maybe it's around spelling or writing, I would suggest trust your gut. That would be my first word of advice. You might start hearing some things coming at you from the school perspective like, oh, all children develop at different times, or, oh, he's a boy and they develop a little bit slower, or he'll catch up, don't worry. If you really are sensing there's something going on, trust that. Connect to other parents. The best advice that I've ever gotten along the way has come from other moms and dads who have either been there before me or were going through the same thing at the same time, and we were able to share information and share advice and suggestions. So look for someone else to connect with, and then find out what you need to do. Go to the professionals that can point you in the right direction, whether it's seeking a diagnosis, whether it is looking for a tutor or an interventionist to start working with. Just find out what you need to do. It is a steep learning curve, but from what I've seen, the parents who really take the time to understand that you need to get actively involved and educate yourself, those are the successful outcomes that I know about. Dyslexic children need an advocate in their corner. And I don't mean an educational advocate that, you're paying to help you with the IEP side of things. I mean someone, a champion in their corner. They need someone who truly understands them and appreciates them for the whole series of strengths and weaknesses that come with dyslexia. I think parents can be that for children, but I think it can come from other places too. It can come from a mentor. It can come from that one teacher who truly knows that they can make a difference. So that would be the number one thing that I really think they need: a champion, someone in their corner. Of course, they need the correct remediation techniques. They need the assistive technology. They need to have access to good evaluations and progress monitoring. But all of that will find its way, and it usually comes because there's that champion that's really pushing for all of those things to be put in place. So be your child's champion. I think it's tremendously important to foster the strengths if you have a child with dyslexia. I think that they spend a lot of their early educational experience in what feels like failure. And as parents and people who know them intimately, there's so much more than that, and they might need some convincing in those early years. So really spend time getting to know where your child's strengths and interests lie, and make sure that you're providing them with all of those avenues to explore those and to find success, because they might not be getting that in the academic setting just by the nature of the weaknesses that are there. So really celebrate and give them many, many opportunities to feel and experience what success is like, because for many of our kids, it can be the lifeline that gets them through the rough patches. Dealing with the public schools can be a really difficult, challenging process, but I think that there are a few things that parents can do. Keeping the mind frame that's partnership-driven, even in the most challenging of times, if we can remember that educators get into that business because they want to help children, and they have a desire to do good, and maybe looking at it from the perspective that they might not have the tools that they need right now to help in this situation. So by taking that partnership mind frame and seeing if you can build something there so that you can kind of investigate things together, and maybe you'll be the parent that's introducing things to a school district that might have never have explored those things before. So that's number one. Try not to fall victim to the anger and frustration that is definitely there, and keep that partnership mind frame. But then also connect to other parents and connect to other support organizations in your state where they can get you the actual advocacy advice and support that you need, because working through the system will be difficult, and knowing what your rights are, understanding the different legislation that's out there that supports and helps our kids will be crucial to know. There's a steep learning curve, but it's worth it. It's the parents that take the time to really educate themselves and be on top of all of that stuff. They have good outcomes. I do have actually one other final bit of advice for parents, and this is something that I learned at a workshop where there was an attorney talking to a school-based parent group, and he said something that has stuck with me all of these years. He was talking about the need for parents to understand their role on a school-based intervention team or an IEP team, and he says, your role is to set the bar really high. He said you wouldn't be doing your job as a parent if you weren't the team member that was setting the bar up here. And I had been going through a period of time where I was feeling a little nervous about my role on these different school-based teams, because I thought, oh, are people going to like me? Are they am I interacting in the right way? Are they going to hold this against me? And just hearing him say that you're being a good parent when you're interacting as a team member as his best advocate in those settings. So to other parents, I say, set the bar high and be proud that you're there to be a voice for your child, and just know you're going to negotiate and you're going to settle somewhere in the middle. But don't be scared or nervous about being that person that goes into the team meetings or the teacher discussions and you're the one really pushing for that high standard. We know that our children will eventually learn to read, but it can be challenging to get those things in place that are going to get them there. So be that loud voice that's advocating for everything your child needs, and don't be ashamed or shy away from it.